A PNP is a pediatric nurse practitioner.
We can diagnose, treat, prescribe, just like a doctor would, but with the touch of a nurse.
Kids A to C with the PNPs. B is for boys.
Hi everyone, welcome to Kids A to Z with the PNPs.
Where each week we take a closer look at common health problems affecting our kids.
We're your hosts, Courtney.
And I'm Dominique.
And today we're going to be talking about B. The letter B is for
burns.
Burns and burn prevention, which is a topic near and dear to my heart. As a former burn nurse, this is a passion of mine.
Burns.
Yes. And so while there are many types of burns, most of the time when you think about burns, you think about flame burns or burns that are caused by fire. But actually in children, the most common type of burn is a scald burn or burns that are caused by hot water. You also have chemical burns, electrical burns, and contact burns like that from an iron or a curling iron.
So what can we do to keep our children from getting burned? There's a lot of prevention that we can follow that is helpful. So in the kitchen, when you're cooking, making sure that the pots and pans the handles are over the stove and not hanging off the stove. And really, young kids especially shouldn't be in the kitchen while you're cooking if possible, just keeping them away. It just takes a second for someone to knock into a pan and a boiling water to come on and cause a scalding burn.
Yeah, and kids, toddlers especially, can reach a lot higher and a lot farther than you might think that they could. So one of the most common burns that we see here at Children's Hospital of Michigan is kids that are making like Easy Mac or ramen noodles in the microwave. They go up to reach for a hot bowl out of the microwave and they pour it down on themselves, on their face, and on their chest. So not letting your child cook alone or cooking unsupervised is a huge thing.
You know, other burns we think of, you know, in house fires are a big issue. So having smoke detectors on every floor that people are sleeping on. So if you have people sleeping on the first floor and the second floor, there definitely needs to be smoke detectors outside of those bedrooms.
And those smoke detectors don't work if the batteries aren't functioning properly. I always tell people, when you change your clocks, change your smoke detector batteries. That's a good way to know that there's always good batteries and functioning smoke detectors in your house. Talking about house fires, having an escape plan that your whole family is aware of and that you practice to know what to do if a fire breaks out in your house, what's the best way to get out, and where you're going to meet up with one another.
Another thing is we're, winding down our summer, the weather's getting a little bit cooler. As a good rule of thumb, kids should never be playing in the bonfire pit, even if there's not or has not been a fire in it recently. It's just good practice so they know that it's dangerous.
Yes. And even for adults, when you're putting out a bonfire, make sure you put it out with water. If you're having a bonfire on a beach, a lot of people will just put sand over the coals, and that actually helps retain the heat. So then the following day when kids are running along the beach, they burn their feet on these hot coals. So always make sure that your bonfire is completely extinguished with water.
Around in the house, it's easy when you're giving your kids baths, for little ones especially, to hit the knobs or make the water a little bit hotter. So how hot is the water supposed to be?
So the American Burn Association says that your hot water temperature should be set at 120 degrees. It's the best thing you can do because, especially if you have young kids in the house, if you're giving them a bath, they accidentally knock the hot water on, or even babies that you're bathing in the sink, which should really be avoided if you can. If they kick the hot water on, that way the water can't get too hot to burn them.
And another good prevention, especially during the summertime, is wearing sunblock when your child is out in the sun. Sunblock should not be used, however, on children 6 months or less. Those young infants should be kept out of the sun in the shade and protected with clothing.
Should we talk a little bit about treatment of burns?
So what should we do if your child, or what should one do if a child experiences a burn?
This is kind of a loaded question, depending on the size and of the burn and how the burn was inflicted. As a general rule, running the burn under cool but not cold water. If you put ice or super cold water, it's actually going to make the burn worse. So running it under cool water will help keep the swelling down. If it happens on a finger and there's some jewelry there, make sure you take the jewelry off so that it doesn't get swollen and stuck on the hand. If it's a minor burn, you can just put some over-the-counter like anti-infective ointment like a Neosporin or a bacitracin. You can put it on the burn and just wrap it in a Band-Aid or like a clean dry gauze. Try to keep the blisters intact if we can, if it's just a small burn, because that fluid that your body creates will actually help heal the burn. If it's a large burn, put the child in a clean, dry sheet. and bring them to the emergency room. We'd prefer that if your child has to come to the emergency room to be seen by a specialist, that you don't put anything on the burn. I have seen kids come in with mustard, toothpaste, butter, all sorts of things on burns. Please don't put anything on the burn. Leave it to the experts. We'll take care of you. If the burn is larger than the size of the palm of your child's hand, they need to be seen by a professional. And truthfully, if you're concerned about your child's burn at all, our burn specialists are amazing here. Please feel free to come by our emergency room, see your pediatrician. There is never a dumb question or a silly visit. So if you're concerned about your child, bring them in.
All right, I think that's about it for burns. Again, if you guys have any questions, comments, give us a like or a share, or you can always email us at kidsa2z@dmc.org. And next week, we will be talking about...
Well, next week is C, and C is for constipation. So we're going to talk about poop. We'll see you then.
Thanks for watching.